Hey y'all, it's the Anime Caveman. Today I'm going to be reviewing the 5th episode of Goblin Slayer. And I gotta say, this episode was by far the weakest Goblin Slayer episode I have seen of the series. And if any of y'all wondering my reaction was, for those who didn't see my live reaction, I was mostly uninterested. I didn't have much emotions. And really, there wasn't really much in this episode to talk about. Because it focused on these two nameless fucking characters, like this sword dude and this magic using chick that fight these rats. Sword gets stuck on a rat, and magic chick has to electrify this rat, and they have to run away because roaches are showing up. And they spend most of the episode asking for people for help, like, oh, do you have any advice on how to deal with rats without weapons? Oh, do you have any weapons you can lend me? And they spend like literally, I think 12 episodes on these boring fucks. And I'm like, on the inside, I'm like, oh, fuck. I really hope Goblin Slayer can maybe do something with these two dudes or anything. At the very least, so that this episode has a character that we care about actually doing something. But instead, the episode has Goblin Slayer giving advice, oh, just use a club, since it won't get stuck, and that could help you out. And they could have just had these two, the writers could have just had it where they were just asking Goblin Slayer for help from the very get-go, and they could have maybe rewrote it so that maybe they found the sword on their own, and maybe it could have made things a bit different in the episode, and they could have made it flow quicker, instead of wasting all this time of then going to this uber powerful knight saying, no, my weapons are too good, or them watching these two knights sparring out, thinking about, oh man, I wish I had a big weapon, and I'm thinking, how is this contributing to the plot? How is this contributing to character development? How is this contributing to characterization throughout the whole episode? It's like, this episode had almost nothing. And the only good thing about this episode was maybe the very beginning where you had Lizard Man wanting to get some cheese from Goblin Slayer as if he was like some kind of crack addict. And I like that scene. And then when the elf tries to get Goblin Slayer to join a quest, and she's like, would you consider it? And then Goblin Slayer's like, I will. Half of mine saying, yo, y'all should have probably lied and say, hey, there could be goblins. And that would have piqued Goblin Slayer's hate boner. And that might have made him want to go with Elf's crew on the adventure. Just on the possibility of there being goblins. That's what I think the elf should have done. Lied a little bit. But hey, it's all good. I like that scene. And when the dwarf was teasing her and she was throwing rocks at the dwarf back, those scenes were pretty adorable. So again, the dynamic between the elf, the dwarf, and the lizard man, it's still good to see. It's just a shame it was only the beginning. And then the scenes where you had the receptionist, where you had the Goblin Slayer observing for because she asked for a favor because she doesn't feel really comfortable. And then seeing that little sequence where the guy was thinking of harming the receptionist, but then like it implies, like, with Goblin Slayer's demeanor, that if he would have tried some shit, Goblin Slayer would have punched him in the face. And I like that kind of shit. Showing off, like, the Goblin Slayer's intimidating aura. He doesn't even have to do anything. He just has to focus on the individual to, like, get some intimidation out of you. So that was cool, too. And it was nice how this episode revealed that, yeah, the receptionist also likes Goblin Slayer, and she even explicitly says it to her friend. So that was nice, and it puts into context why she was trying to do things like comfort the Goblin Slayer in like a previous episode's flashback and all that. So all in all, those were some pretty good elements about the episode. And that's why I'm not going to rate this episode a 1 out of 10. Because if it didn't have those, if it was just this episode focusing on those two scrubs, it would have been a 1 out of 10. And as for the animation, it was average. It wasn't bad. At least things moved when they were supposed to. Not the prettiest looking Sakuga filled episode, but it was decent. And As for the CG armor, it only showed up ugly in a few instances, but for the most part, White Fox took care in drying the armor in a few more sequences. Probably because this isn't such a motion-centric episode, so they didn't have to rely on as much CG. Because if they would have fucking abused the CG, this would have made the episode worse than it already was. As for the soundtrack, I mean, it wasn't bad, it wasn't good, it was just okay. It was just there. And the voice acting was great. And taking all these factors into consideration, I'm going to rate this episode a 4 out of 10 because the receptionist scenes and then the elf, dwarf, and the lizard man scenes were like a small minority, and you only got some legit plot progression near the end, which was like a small amount, when the receptionist gives Goblin Slayer a letter, which was a request to get rid of goblins, sent by the Sword Maiden, and that's about it. But really, there's nothing of substance in the episode at all. And but at the very least, next week's gonna be good. So anyways, guys and gals, comment down your thoughts on the episode in the comment section below. Rate the video, subscribe if you want to see more reviews and reactions, and I'll see you guys next week. And have a great and safe week and healthy week, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.